Welcome and thank you for joining us. Today I have the honor of introducing you to one of my business partners, Rick Geha. So Rick is located in California, and I really never would have met him had I not joined eXp, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. But Rick originally comes from a KW background. I have not. I was offered a contract with KW. I think it's a great company. We are not here to bash them at all. We're just doing a compare and contrast for everybody, because in my area, Rick, people have certain things in their head about what eXp is and isn't. So that's really why I wanted you to join me today. So I thank you for your time. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so in our area, and I think you know the person, there's a woman that started KW about 20 years ago, and she was a visionary. She created something in our area that no one in real estate really thought about as an agent, and how you could grow your business in other lines of business. But that was 20 years ago, and today is a different world. So without further ado, I just wanted to introduce everyone to Rick Geha. Rick, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'll quickly tell my story so that you're up to date on who I am, what I do, and how I ended up here today. I wanted to be a dentist. I got rejected by 13 dental schools. I already had about 60 or 70 relatives in real estate. So on May 15th of 1980, I started my real estate career, and in Northern California, which is where I still live. And I used to tell my uncle for the first several years that I did not plan on doing this for a living, because I kept thinking I'd eventually get into dental school or I'd do something else with my biology degree, and none of that ever happened. And as you can see, here I am almost 41 years later, still in real estate. Fast forward to 1993, my 13th year in the business, I was asked to manage an office of 12 agents. And so I left my uncle's brokerage and went and did that. Learned a lot in those 9 years that I did that. That company was a large independent in Northern California. They had 21 offices in 21 cities in the Bay Area. And in 1997, that company got bought up by what was then called Cendant. Today it's called Realty. And we became a Century 21 franchise of 21 offices. And soon since I was now a Century 21, I became one of the top recruiters in the Century 21 system by what we were already doing, because we had a great boss who would guide us on recruiting and helping the agents to build great businesses for themselves and flourish. So that boss of mine later went on to start a real estate company called Intero, and then that company eventually got bought up by Berkshire Hathaway. And today, that boss of mine, who was a guy named Gino Blafari, is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. So that 1993 to 2001 period, where I learned so much. I learned about recruiting. I learned about understanding the growth and development of offices. So when I left there, I started opening up Keller Williams Realty offices. Again, that was at the end of 2001. By 2005, 2007, I had 9 Keller Williams Realty franchises in Northern California. 7 of them were in some of the worst areas during the downfall between 2007 and 2010, where we lost a lot of value. It was costing me and my partners over $100,000 a month to keep the doors open on 7 of those 9 offices. And 2 of them were breaking even, but the other 7 were definitely hemorrhaging money. And so I essentially, 2010, my 30th year in real estate, 53 years old, I was broke. I had nothing. I had a 490 credit score, 1.4 million in debt, and was finally out of the ownership business and went back to what I know, which was selling real estate. Just got back to really focusing on that. And I was, for 9 of the 14 years I was with Keller Williams, I was their #1 speaker and trainer. I traveled the US and Canada and taught classes. And a lot of that is what took my eyes off the selling game. So between 2010 and 2011, got really super focused on selling real estate again, rebuilding my team that had disintegrated, and moving forward. In 2015, Keller Williams and I had a falling out. It was about my speaking and coaching and some other things that we had very major disagreements on, more corporate than franchise. And And with that, I removed myself at the request of Keller Williams to leave the company. And I did. And I went and hung my license and got right back to work, focusing 100% on sales. At the end of 2016, a very good friend of mine, Brent Gove, came to me and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something called eXp." So the reason I bring that story up is up till now, because I want to finish the story, is that I did not actually leave Keller Williams for eXp. Keller Williams actually, we came to almost a mutual agreement at their request that I leave. So in other words, I didn't have it in my mind that I left, that I wanted to leave, but Keller Williams said, because of what I wanted to do in speaking and coaching, I was not allowed to do as an owner of any franchises. So I said, well, allow me to be rid of all my franchises and I'll happily stick with Keller Williams as an agent and go on and do what I want to do. And they said, sorry, no. So I said, well, I got to go, because I wanted to speak and coach and talk to all kinds of people, not just Keller Williams offices. So the brokenness, as I call it, my wife and I call it the area of brokenness in my life, where I had nothing, literally no real estate, no savings, living real estate paycheck to paycheck. And if you've experienced that, you get what I mean. And if you haven't, good for you. I don't think people sell real estate for 41 years because they planned on it. I certainly, if I was wealthy beyond means, I wouldn't sell real estate as a hobby. There's a lot of other things I might be doing instead. However, I joined eXp. In fact, next week it'll be 4 years on the 17th of January. And those 4 years.
Congratulations, 4 years. So you were at KW for how long? And then let's talk deep dive in 4 years with eXp. How long were you with KW?
14 years.
Now, over that time, how much profit share or, maybe stock ownership you had that when you left, how much did you have compared to what's going on now?
That's a really good question. So back in 2000, I got to KW in 2001. By 2003, 4, they were putting me on stage to talk about my profit share checks. In 2005, I had my highest profit share check. I had a $32,000 check 1 month, which was pretty significant for me at the time. Yeah. Plus, I was a top selling agent. I was usually doing 50 to 70 deals a year with an average sale price of $600,000-700,000. So I was doing well in both areas. And some of my offices back then were actually profitable. So I was getting some owner profits, some profit share. My sales business, it was feeling like I was going to be able to retire in my 50s. And so profit share is an interesting thing, because and that's the main thing, is understanding the real truth about stuff. Profit share is not paid by Keller Williams Realty International, the corporate. It's paid by the franchisees. And I have so much respect for franchisees, because they are the ones boots on the ground, busting their butt, trying to build their local businesses. And
it's a big risk. It's a lot of liability.
It is. Yeah. And I lost millions, not anyone else's fault but mine. Certainly not Keller Williams' fault. I made the decisions. I'm the one who got into marketplaces that were crashing. Certainly not anyone's fault but my own. I take full responsibility for exactly where I am. I'm living the happiest life I could have ever imagined at 63 years old. I'm healthy, happy, amazing wife, an amazing business. But when I started to see the differences between revenue share and profit share, I call myself an intelligent sort of, an intelligent guy who can grasp things. But when I started noticing that the advertisements were like, Keller Williams paid out, blank millions of dollars worth of profit share.
Right.
It really threw me off, because it wasn't Keller Williams corporate. It was John Smith, the local owner of a Keller Williams franchise. It was Tom Jones, the local owner of a Keller Williams franchise. And they were struggling to make money as franchisees, because so much of the money went to profit sharing that really, if you owned a Keller Williams franchise, if they weren't several hundred agents, then it was really tough, in my personal opinion, to make a profit that you could carry on and live the rest of your life doing.
You bring up a great point, Rick, because we just had in our area, KW is huge. It's a beast. It's just a machine. Yeah. And they just had one broker owner sell, and he just moved over to eXp because, well, now we're in COVID, and now people aren't using this awesome, new building and new office, and that brick and mortar is really hurting a lot of these brokerages. But I'll allow you to continue.
Yeah, when people ask me, that's a really good point, Stacie. I'm glad you brought it up. When people ask me about, what do you feel is the issue with franchises? And I said, very simple. It's two things: rents and salaries.
Right.
Okay. Those are all the responsibility of the franchise owner. And as much as you want to be the best you can to the agents you recruit to the company, say there's a value proposition for coming to my franchise, you're going to benefit as an agent. I could never stop thinking as an agent myself because I always have been one, right? So, I have friends right now that are in the Bay Area. We have a very high average sale price here, as you're well aware. And, I've got 2 or 3 friends with Compass, for instance, out here. And I know that what they paid to Compass last year was well over $200,000 out of their commissions. All right. And then even if I'm not having a talk with them, they're personal friends about recruiting them. I love what David Golden said: franchises own you. You don't own the franchise. But
Word.
I mean, they know that I'd love for them to join me at eXp, but the conversations are more friend-based conversations. And I'll say, look, with all due respect, how could you give someone else $200,000 of your hard-earned money?
Right.
I said, that's what I don't get. And I said, I haven't been able to get that since I left Coldwell Banker and went to Keller Williams back in 2001. I was on a 90-10 because I was a Coldwell Banker manager. So they gave me a 90-10, but I was doing 800,000 in commissions. That means I was still giving them 80 grand. I'm like, what am I getting for that? If you're the person creating your own business, the lady in San Francisco is a very close friend of mine who paid them $248,000 last year. I said, look, I can actually show you how to take 125,000 of that and hire someone who will do everything and more than they do for you and pay for all of these different services. And then you'll benefit another 100 grand. And even if you're worried about it, donate that 100 grand to your daughter's future, college fund or whatever. So the thing is, I see very clearly what's going on, but you wonder, you say, well, how does each company, that local Keller Williams franchise or how are they continuing? It's very simple. They're continuing because the individual agent either doesn't know what's going on around them, which in a lot of cases we are so happy. It was like at Keller Williams. When I was at Keller Williams, I was so happy I would never even consider another brokerage. Or those are the two things. They're not aware, or they're so happy they're not looking. Okay. There is the third option that sometimes they feel completely trapped. They're miserable. Things aren't going well, but they don't know what to do. And that's fine. I totally get that. Right. But here's the thing. I was hired once to speak to 52 RE/MAX broker owners. And when they heard that I had Keller Williams franchises, they said, Rick, can you teach us how to recruit against Keller Williams? And I said, you don't recruit against Keller Williams. You recruit to what you have, not against what others have. Right. That's the main thing. When people see this enviable growth that's going on at eXp, I joined the company with 2,400 agents. Okay, back in 2017, and today it's over 43,000 agents. People go, wow, it's a scam, it's a this, it's a that. People are going to think what they think. I always tell people, look, you can listen to the rumors or you can profit from the truth. How would you like to know the facts? And then you can make a decision for yourself, right? So yes. Those are the kinds of things that people do. But at the end of the day, people are going to places that match the value proposition they're looking for, right? One of the questions, my wife's not in real estate. She used to be. She calls herself a recovering realtor, but she does actually, because of her 13 years building an incredible, multi-level distribution system through a network marketing company, has the experience on how to be more effective at attracting people into your business and not vomiting information on them. Right. And she's very passionate about it because she feels there's a right way and a wrong way to do that kind of thing. And she's more about, how are you doing? Are you enjoying work where you're at? Do you have yourself set up for retirement? I tell people all the time that a lot of people jump into real estate so excited, as I was in 1980, but they're not thinking about anything other than how excited they are to get into real estate and be successful at it. And I wish I could just really impart on people to start thinking about, how will I get out of real estate? And Casey, my wife, 13 years since she last sold a house, says, look, let's look, Rick, just in the 11 years you and I have been together, how many real estate agent funerals we've been to. And I said, I know, it's sad, which she's absolutely true. We've been to several. She goes, now in the 11 years we've been together, name one time that we went to a real estate agent retirement party.
Great point. You said it all when you said that, Rick.
Yeah. And I said, this was a serious discussion, just me and her one night. And I said, that's, at first it started sarcastic, and then we got serious about it. And I said, you're right. We have never, ever been to a realtor retirement party. I said, in fact, the last one I remember going to was in the late 80s for a guy in Fremont. So it's just, it's really crazy. And I tell people, my thing is that we all make decisions that are best for us. I left KW. I hung my license with a friend of mine, a small independent. I go, leave me alone. I'm going to lease this little office. Me and my team are going to get back to work, selling houses, doing what we do best.
Right.
And when Brent called me, I was like, dude, get the freak out of here. I mean, he's a personal friend of mine. And he goes, look, he heard me say something about a franchise. I never want to be involved. He goes, I thought you told me that you knew something about eXp. I said, yeah, I know enough about eXp. I go, and I'm never going to be with any of those big franchise companies again. He goes, see, you don't know crap. eXp is not a franchise. Just give me 30 minutes on the phone, right? So that 30 minutes, my wife was in Chile on business. I can remember it. She was in Peru. And I said, I listened. It was a Sunday morning. He said, okay, just give me 30 minutes, Sunday, 8 a.m. We did it. When I got to the very last 5 minutes, he said, he was really quiet, and he goes, what do you think? And I said, I'm in. And he said, really? After all that crap you gave me for a week? And I said, dude, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I said, this is amazing. And he said, so when are you going to sign up? I said, I'm not doing anything without my wife. She's in Peru, but I said, she'll be back.
Smart man, Rick.
Yeah. Because, second marriage, you're not going to make the same mistakes you made in the first marriage. So I listened to her. She came into town. She came home. It was literally, she came home on a Thursday night. She woke up the next day. I said, I really got to talk to you about this. I talked to you about it by FaceTime, but I really want to kind of move forward on the decision. Brent lives 2 hours from us by car. So it was a Friday night at 7 p.m. She picks up the phone and said, dude, if you want us to do this, you need to get over here right now. Literally at 9:10 p.m. Brent's knocking at our front door.
Oh my gosh.
2 hours and 10 minutes later. And we sat there for probably an hour and a half. Before he left, my wife sold him a bunch of her network marketing products. And that's when I made the decision that I'd be moving. That was in early November. I finally moved in January. I had some stuff I had to take care of. Part of it being some of the legal stuff left over from Keller Williams. And
wow. So. And when you joined 4 years ago, how much, and this is not why I joined or why you joined, but how much was our publicly traded stock at that moment?
$2.52.
$2.52.
Yeah. And, when it got to $8, I thought, I was like, wow, it's amazing, and then it went up at one point as high as $19.50 and then dropped back down, kind of hung around at $8 for about 2 years. And then even in March when COVID hit, it was still sitting at $8. And then, Glenn Sanford in his all his wisdom buying up companies and, looking at technology really, really helped us out a lot. So it was great. Now there was go ahead. Sorry.
Lisa had asked you a really good question, Rick. Yeah. And the question was, what would you share with an agent who's considering a move to eXp? In our area, there's a lot of misconceptions such as you don't sell homes. All you do is recruit, and your organization, your platform is not sustainable. So great question, Lisa.
Yeah, very good question. So when I started Keller Williams in 2001 in Fremont, California, the town I'm born and raised in, and for those of you who don't know Fremont, if you're a baseball fan, Dennis Eckersley came from Fremont. MC Hammer used to live in Fremont. Teslas, all of the Teslas that you see on the road are built in Fremont. And Christy Yamaguchi, the famous ice skater, came from Fremont. And a lot of other people do. But it's a town. It's called the gateway to the Silicon Valley. It's a town 20 minutes from Palo Alto, where Stanford University is. Anyway, But when I started opening Keller Williams offices, Keller Williams was only about 9,500 agents at the time. 9,500 agents. Today it's 150,000 agents. So it was very small considerably. And people would tell me, Rick, why are you opening up this paint company? You know, what is it? Sherwin-Williams, Keller Williams, what? And I said, because, you know, I want to do that, right? And they said, why don't you'd probably be a lot better off just calling it Rick Geha Realty, because everybody kind of knows you. Nobody's ever heard of that company, that red company. And so we start the company, and then we start hearing that exact same thing. Oh my gosh, I don't want to go over there. You don't want me to sell houses. You want me to recruit.
Right.
Now, this is what I was hearing at Keller Williams in 2001, 2002, and even 2003. You don't hear that anymore. But what's very disappointing to me is that the most number of people I hear that from are Keller Williams people who know better. They know that Keller Williams as a company, Gary Keller is a visionary, doing all he can to help agents have a great life, produce more sales. But Gary Keller is close to being a billionaire, okay? And he's done that, with all due respect, on the back of the agents. Because while he had a capping system, which was new, incredible, I went from giving Coldwell Banker 80 grand a year to giving Keller Williams only 30 grand a year. It was amazing, okay? But exactly what you said at the beginning, this is 20 years later, and things are different. Okay, there's a company now that's only going to take 16,000 of you. So to answer Lisa, first and foremost, almost 41 years, this is the least amount of money I've ever paid a broker, period, even if you don't have rev share. Okay, number two, I love the autonomy. I'm out there selling real estate. I don't have somebody tapping me on the shoulder and you missed the office meeting this week. Nobody's doing that to me, right? I have the value of the broker doing things in the cloud that no matter where I am physically, if I need to hear from my broker, I can be in the cloud talking to my broker of record. Okay. I can take classes wherever I am. I remember the first year I was here, I was doing a lot of traveling, speaking, and I would be listening to eXp classes on Southwest using Wi-Fi. Right. So all of those things are the individual agent. If I moved, like when I left that small independent and Brent was talking to me about eXp, let's say I'd gone to Remax, Coldwell Banker, I still would have been selling the houses I would have been selling. All right. And the 5% of my commissions that I asked eXp to take out and buy stock for me, guess what I would have had? I'd have that money back. In the 4 years I've been with the company, every single transaction, I've asked them to take 5% and use it to buy stock. All right. That's all. Let's forget rev share for a minute.
Right.
If I had that 5% back over the 4 years, I'll tell you honestly, I know exactly what it would have been, $94,600. That's what my 5% that I've given to buying stock for myself. But because of the economy and the company, the stock, that total stock that I've invested personally, $94,000, and I'm only talking about stock I've bought, not awards I've received.
Right.
Okay, is now worth $700,000. Now remember, I lost everything. I lost everything, retirement and savings, trying to keep offices open. Now I have a $700,000 stock portfolio that's going to move me closer to retirement. I'm just saying this. I could have been selling real estate anywhere and keeping that 5%. But the fact is, the company said, we'll allow you to buy stock at 10% below what it's going for up to 5% of your commission dollar. Okay. I'm making 10% immediately on the sale. Where else is that going to happen? No matter what happens to the stock price.
It's not going to happen anywhere.
Right. So there's so many. So for the newer agent, it's like, I'm going to ask you a question. I understand you're happy. You actually know all the truth. So what I do is I have this 34-minute webinar called The Model Explained. I go, do me a favor. It may not be for you, and that's okay. But you owe it to yourself to at least know why this company is growing so fast. And you should know because you're not one of the people. Okay. And I don't need you to join. I'm telling you because it'll help you. I'm good either way. You come, you don't come, no worries. I'm not doing this. I'm not talking to you about it for me. That's very important. So here's what So you say, watch it. But let's do this. Before you watch it, before I send it to you, let's set up a time right now, 10 minutes, where you can ask me questions and poke holes in it when you're done watching it. Let's set that up right now. How's tomorrow at 2:30? Great. Tomorrow at 2:30. And have them watch that 34-minute webinar. Sometimes I just say, when's a good time? We'll jump on the phone together for 45 minutes. The first 35 we'll watch it. The last 10 minutes, you know? So
I always was. Rick, you bring up a good point because when I was with Berkshire Hathaway for over 18 years, and the last 4 years, I wanted something better. I looked at every model, and every year I would talk to KW or KW Remax, and then when Compass came out, I talked to them because I wanted to, just as a business person, it's important to know what every model is so you know what you're talking about, you know what your worth is, and which brokerage fits for you and your family. How are you going to be best? Which
Yeah.
brokerage is better going to serve your family? So I looked
Well,
for 4 years. I was afraid. And then once I saw eXp model like you, it took me 60 seconds just to say, I'm done. I'm ready. Let's go.
yeah. Were you with Fox and Roach?
Yeah. So it
Okay.
was my
Oh, no,
mom was an agent. It was
yeah.
Fox and Lazo, then it was Fox and Roach, then it was Prudential Fox and Roach, then it was Berkshire Hathaway. There are like 10 other names, but
No,
yes,
I
and
know. But when I used to go
it's
out,
a nice company.
yeah, when I used to go into your area to speak for Keller Williams, King of Prussia, Westchester, everywhere I went around there, um, I would always hear from the KW people about Fox and Roach. So yeah, especially it was Prudential Fox and Roach all the times I was there. So
Yes, and
yeah,
there's still a big presence. It's now
yeah,
Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. And when I was there, I would ask, hey, can Warren Buffett maybe give us the option of buying stock, not even at a discount? Could we
yeah,
do that? And that's just not an option. It would be really cool.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And yeah, and so I think overall, like, I mean, a lot of people think that, people that have done well or joined EXP had some like master plan. I was desperate. Okay, I joined in January of 2017 and I was still digging myself out of that hole. And look, let's be honest, on December 30th of 2018, I wrote a check for $189,000 and that was the last of all of the 1.4 million of debt. So by that day, December 30th, 2018, I was out of debt other than my $323 car payment. That's it. And honestly, people say, well, are you giving EXP the credit? Hell no. What are you, stupid? I mean, does an author have to take the credit if someone reads his book and doesn't do a damn thing with it? No.
Right. Yes.
But EXP offered me the platform with which, if I put my ass to work, I could create a difference in my life. Right. And that's the thing. A lot of people are just blinded by, I just got to sell more houses. I got to sell more houses. That's fine. What's your exit plan? Just tell me that. What's your exit plan?
Oh,
When we
thank you
were,
for saying that.
yes, and when we were at Keller Williams, we said we're building an exit plan. It didn't work for me. I'm sure it worked for a lot of other people. I mean, I know a guy whose initials are MB. I'm not going to say it, but I think his profit share is close to $1 million a year, right? So that's wonderful. I just know that it worked for some, it didn't work for all. And it's going to be the same thing here. But at least if I don't get stock and I don't get rev share, I'm only paying the company 80/20 till I pay in $16,000. Then I'm at 100%. I have no franchise fee. Where's that happening? Right. And there's there's the 300% shops that are really popular right now: Realty, One Group, HomeSmart, and Next Home. Right. But
Right.
I have friends and I coach people. I coach a couple of franchises and everything like that. But I have friends that are there and they say, well, after I do this number of deals, I still end up paying more or what. It's whatever makes you happy. If that technology lights you up, then go there. But ask yourself the tough questions. Am I set up to get out?
That's it. And I was actually asked by a former manager, and she asked me, why would you want to do anything else but sell homes? Now I'm 47 years old and I love what I do. I get a rush off of helping people, whether it's my clients or agents. But yes, I do want to do something other than sell homes because there's no end game.
Yeah.
And our company has enabled us in a couple of different ways to increase our streams of income. So you're getting rewarded or compensated for contribution, which I think should have happened a long time ago. And these franchises, they cannot keep up with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And yeah, David said it right. It's about your freedom, not your next check. And we just had a little group meeting right before this one with all of the, kind of some of our people in our organization. And that's what we said. We're like, you know what, this is really about, we are, number one, we're all glued by the fact that we need to make money. And the number one thing that has to happen with that money is pay our bills, right? We all remember the first month. If you think back, you remember the first month that you closed more deals than you need to do to pay all your bills. And you're like, oh, I can put some away. I could do this. I can buy a new suit. I can, whatever. That's the thing. It's the separation between what I must pay versus the freedom that comes after that, right? And that's what everybody wants. We talk to people all the time about what's your freedom number. Some people say their freedom number is $10,000 a month. If I have $10,000 a month coming in and I don't have to work to get it, meaning it's coming in whether I'm sleeping or awake, I'm good. What is your freedom number and how are you getting to it, right? I don't want to be the guy that says, you know what, I'm going to retire and I've got enough money to live the rest of my life as long as I die next month, right? Like that's not what I want to say. I want to say I've got enough put aside, or I've got things in place so I can live to be 125 years old and never worry about a check again, right? That's what I want. So.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And I just want to say how honored I am to be a part of your organization. I mean, if someone were to tell me a couple of years ago, hey, you're going to have a business partner in California, you'll have a couple in California, you'll have David Golden in Las Vegas, and to have me be able to grow my own organization into Colorado and New Jersey is incredible, because where I was, I could never do that. Like it would just never happen. I would get a gift card for referring someone, or I would get like a 3%. I forget what it is. It's something that's like one thing, one time for 1 year, 2 years. And here, because we're tied together, like my success is your success, Rick.
Right.
So that's what I love about it. You are everything that you appear on social media, by the way, Rick. Lisa Fusco and I had met you, and Casey, and I don't use this word often because I'm from outside of Philadelphia, but lovely people who I am like, oh my gosh, I get to work with him. He shares all the time. And let's talk about your coaching outside of eXp. You help agents every week, no matter what brokerage, it doesn't matter. When does that happen?
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. Yes, I coach outside for a company called Workman Success Systems, which is an independent coaching company that is not tied to any real estate company at all. And that's one thing I love about it. And that right after I was able to sever my ties with Keller Williams, I went to that company and very excited to coach for them. However, I did give back all but 3 of my coaching clients because I wanted to focus more on the people that I work with at eXp. So that's where my free Friday coaching call came from that you're talking about. Every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, I do a call. Stacie can just connect you all with my assistant, Gina, and she'll get your email and get you on the email list. And it's an hour. We don't sell anything. We don't advertise anything. There's people of every company all over the United States and Canada jump on that call. We have over 750 people on the email list, and we get between 50 and 60 people on every call, and then we send out the recording. Sometimes we have guest speakers. Most of the time it's just me, but we're talking about mindset. We're talking about actually strategies to get more business, scripts, objections, listings, whatever. We cover all subjects, and there's no really set schedule. Every week we just pick up on something else. So you're more than welcome to join us. We have a great time. It's something for 30 something years of my real estate career, I gave back to my community by emceeing charity events and working with nonprofits. And the last 5 years, I decided that I want to give back to my own community, my industry, and that's real estate. And that's how I do it. So
I love it. And I thank you for your time. And as does David Golden, we all work together. Thank you, Rick, for all that you do for us. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, and you and your time.
Thank you. And I think David Golden's a rock star, and he looks like a rock star. He's always wearing sunglasses, and he's in good shape. He has an attractive girlfriend. It's like he's almost like a movie star. And I'm just so happy that we are working together.
He will eat that up, Rick. You know he will. But lastly, I do want to end with this. Warren Buffett had said, if you're not making I'm not going to quote this word for word. If you're not making money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And our company, eXp, thanks to Glenn Sanford, has allowed us to make money while we were talking on the phone. Our stock went up, and for the day, it's up $3.34. Will it go down? Sure, it'll go down. But when you look at 2 years ago, I bought it at $6, and you look where it is now, it's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
it's exciting for the future. We are licensed in every state. Most agents don't know that.
Yeah. Well,
But
and
anyway,
real quick on the stock, I don't want to belabor it, but my wife and I finally got to a point where we were able to hire a financial manager, a financial planner, and it's a fee-based financial planner, not a free one. But he's amazing. He's literally, we've only been working with him for about 9 months, and he's changed our lives. He's changed our mindset. He texts us every day. I've never had a financial planner that they call me twice a year to do a check-in. This guy texts me every single day.
oh my
The other
gosh.
day, he texts my wife and I. He says, "Can you guys jump on a Zoom with me really quickly?" And we're like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "Do you guys know anything about Motley Fool?" And I go, "Well, isn't it a stock analysis company yeah, something like that?" And
Yes.
and I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "They are very difficult." Like, he goes, "That's the one company I followed for 15 years because if they're analyzing a stock, that stock has some real oomph behind it." He said, "I just wanted you guys to know today they said that eXp is a future $300 to $500 stock." I said, "What?" Like, I hadn't heard that from anybody from eXp, right? And I'm like, "Michael, how do you know that? Like, where?" And he goes, "Well, they analyze all kinds of stuff, the growth patterns and everything, but he said they don't say it." And he goes, "And they're almost always right." So
I
I
had
thought,
no idea.
yeah, Motley Fool said that, and I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." And he didn't send me anything, but it was really, really, really cool to hear that.
That's
So
incredible. Thanks for
yeah,
telling me that. I had no idea. And I do know about Motley Fool, so
yeah,
that's great to be recognized by them.
yeah. Well,
It
great.
only it only gets better. Every day I'm like, I pinch myself.
Yeah,
I have more energy now than I ever have, which is, if people know me, they're like, uh-oh, look out.
yeah.
Stacie's got more energy. But how do you feel? Like, how has your life changed outside of work? Forget about work.
Yeah, my life has changed dramatically. I mean, let's be honest, COVID gave us all an opportunity to have a reset in our mindset and the way we believe. Like, sometimes we're not able to see outside of a box, right? You only see the world like you see yourself. So COVID gave us all an opportunity. I remember the first couple of weeks of being shelter in place, late March, early April, thinking, like, I would wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, I'm not missing anything," because nothing is going on. Like, I wasn't missing any sporting events. The TV wasn't on because there was nothing on. There was no, I like to watch TV to see a basketball game or a baseball game or whatever. Nothing was on. And I just became the most productive person I'd ever become. Like, my workout was like right there on the hardwood floor on a Zoom, and my work was right here. So I'd get off the floor, put on a different shirt, comb my hair, and who cares if I smelled? You can't smell me through Zoom, right? I would just, it was crazy, and we were super, super productive. But everything's changed. My wife and I took a combined 135 flights in 2019. We have not taken a flight since March 11th, and for both of us, it's the longest in our entire lives that we did not fly. So we're approaching a year with no flights, right? Like a
Are
year.
you
Almost.
okay?
Oh
I know
yeah,
how much you two love to travel.
yeah, yeah. Well, look what we did differently. We went out and bought a 43-foot luxury coach and drove all around the country in it. So it changes everything. We hadn't had a dog in several years because, we were traveling so much. Our last dog had passed away, and we said, let's not get another dog. We're traveling a lot. Now we've got a beautiful 80-pound Rottweiler. His name is Bubba.
Yep.
Our RV is called Bubba's Rig. And, we're getting ready to take off in it again. We're going to go see David, and probably in late spring, we're going to be hitting New Jersey and your area,
Yes.
Philly. Yeah. So we're
I
excited.
can't wait. I can't wait to see you two in person. And I'm glad that you fought through it. For those that don't know Rick as well as I do, he and Casey had COVID, and it was a tough time.
Yeah, that was right. We got it about a week after we went down into shelter in place, and the doctors told us it was probably those last couple of flights we took because neither of us was wearing masks. But yeah, it was definitely learned a really good education from the whole thing. So yeah.
Well, again, I thank you, Rick, for your time and for your partnership.
My
And
pleasure, Stacie. You're always a leader, and I love being able to get around to talking with you. So
thank you. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Rick or myself. We're happy to talk to you about eXp and what's really going on, because it's something. It's like buckle up. And I've never been ahead of something. I've always been behind. And to be ahead of the game for once in my life and my career for real estate has been nothing short of extraordinary.
yeah. Well, I like to tell people, look, we're at 43,000 agents. A lot of people go, wow, it's grown so much. I'm really late to the party. Well, if you look at the fact that the company itself has a goal to be at 100,000 agents and you join now, you're going to be in the first half of the people. You're going to be in the early first half of the people that joined eXp. So you'd
That's
still
right.
be good. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So
thank you again.
my pleasure. Thank you
Have a
so
great
much.
day.
I will. I'll talk to you guys all later.